Welcome back to another awesome video. Today we got the Sharp RD-688AV.
This is like the Pinocchio of boomboxes, the Dr. Thunder of colas. It looks like one of those very collectible 1980s Sharp boomboxes that are worth a lot these days, but it's not. It's not expensive, and this particular one's really beat up. At a glance, this looks really identical to like a Sharp GF555. However, there are a couple things missing here from the boombox. You see one of them right up front there?
The radio. Where's the
radio?
radio?
Yes, yeah, exactly. There's no tuner. Where the tuner dial would be is this sign that says, hey, this is for professional use only. And no fun and games, it's professional. On the right side of the box, where the tuning knob and band selector would be, are these things, inputs, outputs, and controls for something called a sync channel. And on the back, just to make sure you don't get any ideas about taking this thing out to the beach, they've removed the battery compartment and attached this permanently wired in 3-prong heavy-duty plug. So what were they thinking here? Why would somebody take a boombox and just suck all the fun out of it?
Kind of sounds like schools.
That's right. That's exactly right. This product was introduced in the early 80s to target the educational market. According to one article, this was going to, quote, revolutionize audio-visual in schools, and be the first time such sophistication in a tape deck has been made available through marketing educational channels. Now, that sounds like a bunch of hype, but I do remember back when I was in elementary school in the 80s, the cassette players and record players we had were pretty crappy. They were mono, they had all sorts of instructions on them, they weren't real exciting. If we had a tape deck like this, that would have been awesome. I mean, look at this thing. It's got metal, dubbing, it's got a lot of stuff.
But does it sound good?
Yeah, it actually sounds pretty good. I think, people seek out these Sharp boomboxes. I think part of it is just the way they're designed. It looks, today we've got what? We got our entertainment is a flat glass screen with software controls. This has tons of controls. As a matter of fact, the design is chaotic. I mean, look at this. What's the first thing you think of when you look at this?
Yeah, kind of reminds me of the song Land of Confusion.
Confusion, right? I mean, You got 800 buttons. You got 2 shelves of controls. Look at this. Normally you got your buttons. This has 2 shelves. You've even got some buttons. Got some buttons and controls hidden behind a little panel down there. The Sharp line of boomboxes that this thing is derived from started in 1980 with the GF555, GF666, and 808. Other than the radio, it shares a lot of features in common with those boomboxes. The main thing they've done is replace the tuner with the sync channel. So what is a sync channel? We did a more in-depth video about this earlier, and I'll put a link down there, but basically it lets you sync your audio with a slide projector and control that slide projector. Remember that thing we had, the little box that would control the slide projector? This does that too. What's interesting from a technical point of view, even though this thing does not have auto reverse, it has auto reverse style heads, which means it can record on both sides. You probably don't know what I'm talking about, do you?
I think I know a little bit.
So yeah, so if you're on auto reverse, right, you're going one way, you reverse, you go the other way. This is always going the same way, but it's recording some other signal on the extra 2 tracks. So you got to be careful when playing with this, because you can punch that button over there and just erase the other side of your tape if you're recording the sync signal. So I could play this tape and then switch the little recording over there over to sync record, and it would actually record the sync signal. So one thing that's really cool about this thing is their implementation of music search, and they've got these elevator style buttons. Like you press, go ahead and press some of those buttons. It's like an elevator, like you press 1, 2, and you get the floor you want. So let's say let's not do 5. Let's say we want to go to 2 songs back, right? You hit the 2 button and you hit rewind, music search, and then watch. It's going backwards now on the tape. This deck is the only one with music search. So you see how that changed like an elevator? It flipped to the next. So it's now fast forwarding past another, or rewinding past another song, and it'll start playing once it gets by there. And there's a little light there to indicate that you're doing the APLD, which stands for Auto Program Locate Device, which is what they call music search. Okay, so now it's playing. Let's see if it starts playing. Yeah, so that worked. And you can, of course, forward. If we want to go forward 4 songs, you just do the same thing. Hit 4, forward, and you'll see it start clicking down through the elevator gizmo. This I got, I think, for like $20 or something, but it is in bad shape. Like, it obviously was used in a school, and we'll go through that in the repair section. The repair section of this video is going to be more like just a resurrection, just get it going section. It was not in good shape. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. Maybe I'll keep it around in case I do get one of the equivalent Sharp boomboxes. It could be a part source, but it does work, and it doesn't sound bad. I should say it has the potential to sound good. I'm not sure it's worth the effort of a full restoration, but anyway, that is just it. It's a quick video about this thing. We're going to go through the repair section next, and we'll see you next time.
See you next time for another awesome video.
Bye.
Let me do that one more time.
Go ahead.
And we'll see you next time for another awesome video.
Looks like it's had a pretty rough life. You got, scuffing and all sorts of stuff. It got dropped during shipping, which broke that, and got all sorts of homemade labels on this, like do not use this tape deck. Instructions here to make a duplicate tape. So here on the side, there's a blue square taped over the sink out. So maybe, they had it hooked into some sort of slide projector sink. On the back, they've got black, so they probably hooked up the black or left channel cable to that one. Interesting, that says City of Los Angeles sticker on it. I think this thing came from Pennsylvania is where it came from, but anyway, it looks like it's really been beat up quite a bit. Lights came on. That's a good sign. Oh, tape clicked. Fast forward's working. Rewind's working. Play seems like it's moving. Getting a continuous Ker-Chunk. Wow, that's a slow eject. Yeah, that one's not working. Maybe I switch over to the other tape. Yep. Like a ground shield attachment on the back there. Whoa, start to lose some screws here. Okay, so just from the back here, I see some quality construction, some metal flywheels. There's the solenoid, probably for the music search thing, or the APLD as they call it. I need to figure out why the cassette deck is Ker-Chunking all the time. So I think I need to flip it around and see if I can get the front off of it. I just had to pull off the two little slider gizmos in there. I guess I need to pull this one off too. Get those out of the way. Okay. Yeah, there's the problem. That's probably why this thing is not ejecting. That speaker thing connects over there, so that's pretty easy to remove. There is a service manual for the 555 online, which is very similar, but it talks about taking out a tuner module, which obviously I don't have here. The cassette module will come out, but I still have to unplug the heads, which go down there, and maybe some other plugs. So I think I'm going to remove this board just to get it out of the way, and then unplug the cassette module, and then try to... I disconnected that, which some sort of controls, I guess. You got heads, power, more heads. So all that's been disconnected, and I think it's just 2 screws here and 1 screw in the back, according to another YouTube video. We're just going to try that and see what happens. So there was a long screw on the back. Okay. Now the whole thing should be loose. Oh yeah, counter belt. Okay, so one difference I have noticed between this and the 555 is there are some additional wires which are really tight, and they go up in here and are plugged in there. Probably has something to do with the sync channel. So there's a lot of tension on those. So I've either got to take all this off and unplug that, or figure out a way to route it around this gray piece. Okay, so good news. I was able to get those wires around that post. So I think that's everything that's holding this in. So we should be able to just lift this cassette mechanism right out of there now. Obviously, always paying attention for something different. All right. All right, so we're into the cassette mechanism here, and the belts are, not great, but they're not broken. What's encouraging too is I see that the solenoid on the left, even though the right one didn't have the APLD in the solenoid, looks like it's got the same plastic piece, so maybe there's enough similarities between these mechanisms. I could use that to figure out what's wrong. This one is just going ka-chunk, ka-chunk, ka-chunk. If I look at and that's the one that was dropped. If I look at the eject button here, it doesn't do anything. And I think, yeah, this thing is loose. So probably that little spring piece that was loose is not putting that back. But over here I can see the eject button actually moving something. So I need to go a little bit deeper over here to see what's wrong with that, and that's going to be the first objective. This is the LED board I had to remove. Then there's like 6 screws here and 1 screw here. Then this whole thing should lift off. Well, there's something holding it here. Oh, it looks like it's just a washer or something. Oh yeah, so there's our motors and all that kind of fun stuff. Ooh, what was that? That was a little solenoid thing. So this piece that was loose, I've got in with just a screw into the old plastic. There's the plastic piece that had just broken off, the little post that was on there. So I just stuck a screw in there. Seems like it would do the job. The eject button now moves that piece of metal. This stays in place. We'll try it. Let's see if the decks will do anything. Well, no, it's still doing it. Let's see if this will do anything. Play. Fast forward. Interesting. Yeah, we still have a problem with that. So this deck obviously still needs some help. So finally I see something else here. So yeah, the Sharp has this weird thing where the capstan has a like a rubber thing on it that drives the gear. That's why that's not turning. I had this on the Sharp RD-688AV, so I've got to get back into this and try to do something about that, because that's why the take-up reel is not turning. I got this piece out and cleaned it up a bit, and the trick to getting this out, there's 4 screws at the top, and then it seems like it's loose, but you got to kind of stick a screwdriver in the front and flick these back, and then it'll come off. But anyway, that was on there like that, so that came off. There's a lot of goo on this from when the pinch roller on the capstan disintegrated, so clean that up a little bit. I think these are good. They still seem to be good enough anyway. This, I'll throw a still shot of that, maybe if I can zoom in, but this will have to be cleaned out with a Q-tip, and then I've got some fuel line somewhere that I used previously with another Sharp cassette deck. So this is fuel line for maybe a weed eater or something, but anyway, it's the right diameter to fit around the capstan, and I could put it in there and replace that whatever pinch roller or whatever was on there with this fuel line. The way I got this thing on is I got it on a little screwdriver, I lowered it in there, and then stuck the capstan in from the back, and that seemed to work. I got this one on. Seems like it's going to turn the wheel just fine when I manually turn it, so we're going to get the other one in and give it a try. Alright, so play works over there. That's good. So we got play to work over here. Play. That works. See, it's pulling the take-up reel. So in theory, we could play a tape now. So my hunch is the remaining problem is mechanical, because if I ever so slightly touch the pause button, it stops doing it. So like now, it's not ka-chunking every time. So if I take my hand off the pause button, you get a click and then the solenoid fires. So before the solenoid activates, I'm hearing that. So those switches might just be out of alignment, might not be working, I don't know, but that seems to be what's triggering it. I hear the click and then the solenoid. So I think I finally got this thing figured out. Both these capstans are stopped right now. The way it's supposed to work, I believe, it's running, playing. When you stop it, that stopped. Now this one is not, the switches or the worm gear, something's not coming back exactly right. So if I've got it stopped right now, if I play, it's fine. Fast forward, whatever. Notice it's still going, and it's going to do that cha-chunk, cha-chunk, cha-chunk thing. So if I stop it a couple of times, I can like force it to hit the switch. So the switches are just slightly out of alignment. See, it's working now. Now it's continuing to run. So it just depends. Because if I stop it a couple of times, the motion of the thing will hit. Yeah, they're stopped. Okay, so it's sort of working at this point. So here's a problem I realized after almost putting it back together is that this little post is missing. That helps keep the cassette aligned like through one of these holes, so it's going to be off kilter, and I'm going to have to do something like I did with this screw, and except screw it in for the back, because it's just a piece of plastic that's broken off. I think this whole thing is just worn out. So I ended up taking a piece of a twist tie, like a plastic twist tie, cutting it down, sticking it in the middle of that as a shaft, and then using super glue to hold that in place. And so far, it's holding. We'll see how long it lasts. Just a sort of a hacky solution there. Just trying to get this thing working again. It's not going to be like in pristine condition. So with this tape fader, you could have the duet between Enya and Lenny Kravitz that you always wanted. That sounds great, doesn't it? So I got to take the sign off here. Okay. Just see what's back there. Yeah, some chips. So I guess the tuner would be in there. Yeah, you can still see probably the same piece of plastic there'd be like a tuner sliding back and forth. They just put this metal sign on there. I need to put my own little sign on there, you know, visit my YouTube channel or whatever. Pinocchio of boomboxes, the Dr. Thunder of colas, the Steven Seagal of action heroes. This boombox is a cheap trick. It's a cheap trick. It's not a real boombox, right? A lot of wow and flutter there.